What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Before we dive into this video though, I want to give a quick recap of how we got here. So towards the end of last summer, Marcus actually blew up his 351 Windsor. He blew it up at a drift event at Auto City, and he blew it up because we suspect that he didn't have enough fuel and too much timing. So obviously the first step was to pull the engine out of the car and get it ready for the rebuild. If you missed any of these videos, they're already posted on our channel, so go check them out. In this video though, we broke it down into two phases. The first phase is cleaning and painting the engine bay. The second phase is disassembling the engine and doing a damage assessment. In the video that follows this one, we will be reassembling the engine with all the new shiny parts. So make sure to keep an eye out for that video. But without further ado, let's dive into this video.
What's going on guys? Welcome back to another Crown Racing video. Today I'm going to be painting the engine bay on the Mustang. I figured since I have the engine out of the car, I might as well take this opportunity to paint it because I haven't painted it in like 4 years. It's super dinged up and it doesn't look good anymore. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I just got done power washing the engine bay. So most of the engine bay is clean and ready to go. I'll need to clean some more over by the MSD box. But besides that, I need to just get stuff out of the way and then start the tedious job of taping everything off. And then I can start painting. I'll probably start with the K-member and like the back firewall, and then I'll make my way forward. Alright, so I got everything taped and bagged off. Start throwing some primer on the engine bay. Right now we got the engine bay all primered up. Now we got to warm up the garage because right now it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit in Michigan, and that's not going to cut it. Get them out, flip around. So all the valves that have a blue mark on the top actually have damage to the 45-degree cut on the valve. Like I'll show you, this exhaust valve is the worst. You see those two nicks right on the 45 where the valve seals against the head? So that's damage from the piston blowing up. So those two little marks there on the 45-degree angle most likely came from piston debris flying around the engine while it was running. So now what I'll have to do is I'll have to take this into the valve seat cutter and I'll actually cut the 45 on this valve down a little bit to fresh material. And that's how we'll fix this issue.
I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, please just take 2 seconds to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It lets us know that you guys like the content we're making. Also, check out crownracingcode.com. We just released a brand new merch drop. Cop yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, or a polo, and that helps the team grow. Thanks.
Okay, so I got the engine on the engine stand. Let's go ahead and unwrap it. All right, just like that. Bam! There's our brand new engine, ready to go. All we gotta do is build it. Let's go ahead and flip it over so we can check out the new piston set. All right, super exciting. We got our short block back from our engine builder. You can see that he put all new 8 pistons in, but this was the piston that ended up melting that needed the rebuild. He was able to keep the bore the same size and just resurface it. And then it still has the same scat rods that I was using last time and the same stock crank. So the only thing that's new is the pistons, and then of course all new bearings and all new piston rings. So the pistons and the piston rings have coating on them as well. The engine builder said he did use King bearings too for this build. So before we get to assembling this engine, we need to do a couple of things. Step 1 is I need to clean all the parts that I plan to put back together. I still need to disassemble this some more so I can re-gasket the water pump to the timing cover and then timing cover to the engine and so on. So I need to go through, clean a bunch of parts. I got my paint, stuff like that. For my cylinder heads that still need paint, which are sitting over here. So right now I'm going to spend the rest of the day just cleaning and painting. And then the step that I'm going to do next is I'm going to need to measure my deck clearance so I know what thickness head gasket to get for my compression. And if you guys are wondering what deck clearance is, that just means how far the piston sits inside the hole. So measuring from this surface to this surface and see how far the piston sits down, because that little gap will affect my compression ratio. And then after that, since we have a new camshaft, I'll do piston to valve clearance. So as we rotate the engine over, I'll see how much of a gap I have between my intake and exhaust as I go through the camshaft valve events. And I'll do a video on that later. So today is cleaning and painting. So let's get that started now. Let's go ahead and start getting this clean here. Let's see, and bam, done. Intake is all clean and it's prepped, ready to get painted. Okay, so we got one step we got to do before we order our head gasket is I need to know the deck clearance, which is how far the piston sits in the hole relative to this surface, because that gap will affect your static compression ratio. So before I buy head gaskets, I want this engine to be 11-to-1 compression, so I need to see how far down that piston sits in the hole so I could punch it into the engine compression calculator. Summit Racing has one if you want to use it. And then I know what thickness head gasket to buy to get me to the 11-to-1 compression ratio that I want. So all I'll do is I'll set it to the deck, try and find a good spot where it's as flat as possible, and then make sure that it's set to 0. Looks like I need to adjust it a little bit. So I got that set. And then an extra bonus, if you have access to one, is I have access to a certified flat surface. So I can also set the set 0 for the dial indicator on this. But you don't need that. That's just a bonus because my company has one of the calibrated flat surfaces. So anyway, so I'll put the bridge, now that I set my 0 to this deck surface, take the bridge, I'm going to put it right over the center of the piston the best that I can. And then I'm just going to go slowly until I see the needle stop. And then right where it stops, before it starts to go back down, is how far that piston is sitting in the hole. So roll it over. And it just started to go down on me. So our measurement is about 18 thousandths. So now I know. I'll go through and check every single cylinder, which I already did. So I'll come over here. So now you can see that 18 that we just did, cylinder 5. You can just take an average of those numbers and calculate your compression ratio. It doesn't really matter. So anyway, that's how you check deck clearance. So with that said, let's get our cylinder head gasket on order and then continue cleaning and painting more parts.